Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
All right, and we are live. Welcome, friends, to our 51st session of the Right Now Riders group. You guys know me as Kauffman, Dragons, and Scarecrow. Today, I am working on an exciting scene. Finally, I get to touch back in on my midpoint antagonist, the Tiger King. So this is going to be interesting as I go back through this and see is he as badass as I hope that I wrote him in the original draft. So that's what I'm working on today. Our fellow co-writers, Calvin. I'll throw you up over here, my man.
Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing well. If I can get to it, I will be working on the Storm 2 book today, again as per usual.
You said you're on book 3, right?
No, book 2.
Oh, book 2.
But we just got to section 4 of 5, so Oslo's returned home to see his family and deal with them, so.
Hey, well, at least you're making some progress. I am very, very happy. You literally just launched a book and you're still going headstrong with the progress in book 2, so that's awesome. I need some of what you're doing, Calvin. I need some more consistency. And let's see. And everyone knows chat. Soul. What's up, Soul?
Hey everyone. So my internet is being weird tonight. I'm using a hotspot for my phone. So if I drop out, I'm sorry about that. I will say in 2 days my next book releases. I made sure I was going to mention that this week. So I need to work on the third one so bad. Thank you, Maddie. Yeah, my camera is really weird. My PC is finally built and I am on it, but apparently my camera reacts weirdly to it.
Oh no. Well, so definitely, we're definitely happy to have you here. Thank you for trying to join us despite the some of the technical difficulties today. So definitely appreciate it. And I think that's a huge highlight. So you said your book's coming out in 2 days. What's the book?
So
it's book 2, right?
Yes. And my thing is blurred, so all right, this will be easier. So the second book in the Pirate series. This is 2 years after the events of the first book. We get to, and it's a dual perspective. So the first book was just simply from Kasai's perspective. Mm-hmm. This is Kasai, another character, and the third book is going to be the same. This one actually took a lot longer to write than the others. Mm-hmm. I had the third book all planned and outlined before this one was even started. Mm-hmm. But that comes out. It comes out on Friday. The set price is $20. It's an ebook, and I'm trying to work out to get so where people could order physical copies as well. Mm-hmm. If anybody be interested in that, so. But I'm excited to finally have the second book out.
Ooh, that's so exciting. That is so exciting. So how does it feel, Soul? I mean, you said the second book took you a little longer, but considering the first one took you 20 years, I feel like the second one's a huge improvement.
6 months.
6 months
19
over 20 years.
And then 6 months.
you beat your record by 19 and a half years, so I feel like that's an achievement.
And the third book, all I have to do with that is just simply put everything in order and actually write it. But that one's already planned, so that's going to take me even faster. However,
so your goal is to beat 6 months with book 3. So does that mean just each new book just is faster and faster?
Funny you should say that, because Bound by Song, I'm actually 4 chapters from the end of the book already.
Wow, you're making some great progress. I'm so happy for you. That's
yeah,
incredible.
I actually have the next 4 chapters completely outlined, and the ending is already done and everything. I just have to finish writing it. So
that is so cool. And you're going to publish Bound by Song under a different author pen name, right? Or is it going to be?
Yeah, I will talk more about that like in the Discord. Once I have like my cover done, I will be sharing that with everyone through the Discord, and maybe even like through the streams or something. Still kind of working on that. Kind of have an idea, but just playing around right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that will be published under Silas Inkwood, the name that I use for the competition. I want to keep my genre separate and bound by song since it is a romance and it doesn't really have much of a subgenre
Mm-hmm.
beyond that. Not that I don't want it to be associated with pirates, but I feel I'm a little more comfortable having my adventure, sci-fi, fantasy series
Mm-hmm.
separated from my romance series because I've got
Mm-hmm.
2 books that I'm working on that would be considered romance, and they're different enough. It's like
Mm-hmm.
might be confusing for people who are expecting Hollow to be
Mm-hmm.
adventure, and then why does Hollow have like 3 romance?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that totally makes sense. I think that absolutely makes sense. I think when you're doing something that's a completely different genre, it's a different readership, right? So I think there's that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of subgenres where you can mix certain readerships with, but if someone's expecting a science fiction or a fantasy, they might not be expecting a romance. Now, there's of course crossover. There's absolutely crossover, but your core readership is definitely going to be different. That I agree with. So that's really,
If
really
it was
awesome.
like
So,
romance as a subgenre, that'd be different. But since it's the main one, yeah.
mhm.
But I can't wait
and
to share that with everyone once it's done.
and by the way, real quick, Megan, I saw you hop into the chat. First one over here with Chat Soul. Love having you. Susan, glad to have you in here. Maddie, editing. What is up? Mary in the house. Maddie, you're doing some video editing. Otherwise, you would join. Totally understandable. Video editing takes up way more capacity on our computers, as I well know. Adrian, always great to see you here, my friend. Adrian was one of our fellow co-hosts for the Read Now Book Club. We'll actually be having an update for the Read Now Book Club soon. We're going to be doing our next discussion for the book club next week. For anybody who's joined us in the Fantasy Book Month this month, ML, great to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And to make sure I caught up. Awesome. So I think, Soul, that's really, really awesome. I'm so proud of you. And I know both you guys, literally Calvin, so you guys literally just published a book within almost a week of each other. So I'm so happy for you guys, and both of you motivate me. Like, I know I've been crazy busy, but I think regardless of my lifestyle, I don't think it minimizes my like drive to really want to push through Scarecrow.
Yeah, you just got a bit more on your plate.
Just a little bit.
No excuses. No excuses to myself. No, what I'm gonna do is once I've gone through the AuthorTube writing conference, which is next weekend, July, I think I'm going to take a step back from certain responsibilities and spend a little bit more time on actual writing again. I feel like it's been a few months where I've actually been able to dedicate time to just working on it. I feel like a lot of my writing sprints over the past like month or two has just been very like fragmented. They're just not very long. Like I feel like I kind of get into the writing session, like I'm like getting into it and then I run out of time. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, and I mean it totally happens to the best of us, right? Sometimes life's crazy and you can't write as much as you would like, but I also think it's also powerful to recognizing, right, that I have been busy, or I'm doing really long days, recognizing that, and then making a plan for, well, what am I going to do different, right? And for seeing what my schedule looks like, so that way I can kind of check and adjust, because I really do want to have Scarecrow out in the fall, and I'm gonna see if I can change my consistency in July to push that along, and not like rushing the process, because I'm going to still do the same creative process regardless. Like that's never going to change because I want to tell the best story possible. But in terms of the amount of time that I dedicate towards writing, that's what I want to adjust.
Yeah, that's really what matters is the amount of time you put in it, not
Exactly.
exactly what you're doing.
Exactly.
Or Soul, you and I can go half and half on hiring a person to stand behind Kauffman, and every time he starts doing something else, he just smacks him in the back of the head with a ruler. Get back to work.
All right, I approve.
Hey, or we could hire somebody to shame him.
Shame. Shit. Well, that worked out really well for you too. So I was like, I guess we need we need a shamer over here. I get distracted and go try to respond to a Discord message. I'm like, shame, shame. What would
Ooh,
Scarecrow think?
we can get the person from Game of Thrones.
Shame, shame. Like, we'd like to hire you for a gig. Oh yeah, an acting gig? No, we just want you to stand in a room and shame. Oh man, that's
I
kind
mean,
of funny.
hey, if it works.
If it works, it works, right? Maybe we all need that accountability, a shamer in our lives. So clearly, guys, this is the next video I need to make. It just needs to be an hour video of just me standing at the camera and just being like, "Hey, are you writing now? If you're not, shame, shame," and I'll just grab the bell, like shame, and it'll just be on repeat for anybody who needs the accountability.
He can probably make a 10-minute tape of it and sell that, and that would probably sell 1 million copies on its own.
Oh man, that, that cracks me up so much.
I can even see
Uh,
the I can even see the advertisement. Do you want to be shamed into writing?
do you want to be shamed into writing? If not, shame for you. Oh man, this is a funny sketch. I feel like this will give me an idea for more sketches. I mean, I remember I did film that sketch video for the Right Now thon. I did the dragon sticker sketch. I kind of like doing them. I just don't think I'm that funny. So like, I don't want to play as much into comedy. Um, Maybe in the future. Although it's interesting is whenever I get together with my family member, with my brother, we're like hilarious AF. I like the stuff that comes out is just ridiculous. It's so stupid. But like on my own, it just never comes naturally to me. I don't think comedy, if there is a weakness of mine, comedy is definitely my weakness, and I recognize that. For the comedic moments in Scarecrow, I really had to think through and take a lot of time because recognizing that comedy, like trying to like get like the punchline or trying to make it feel natural and like a dramatic moment, because you can't write a drama and you can't write a drama with no comedic moments. You have to have that balance, right? You have to have it to balance out the really heavy, and that's just the same for any type of dramatic work generally, with some exceptions, of course. Yeah. How about you guys? So Kevin, are you guys good at comedy at all?
Oh God,
No.
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 I just know I've never been that funny. I don't really have even that much sense of humor, which is hilarious considering who I married.
Well, when you have somebody who's willing to shame you for 20 years, that's a huge plus, right?
He only shamed me for 10 of those years.
Oh, okay, only 10 of the time. Oh, clearly it worked for you.
Was
Yeah,
it
we actually
like
didn't meet until after I graduated high school, and
Mhm.
he didn't shame me until like holy crap, I think maybe 4 years ago now. So
Uh,
well, okay, so he officially shamed me 4 years ago, but he did listen to me before that all those years, so I guess it counts.
oh man. Well, definitely, regardless of if we're shaming each other or not, I think the heart of it is we're just trying to write. And I'm curious because something was on my mind. I see we actually have some really interesting. Sometimes people do writing sprints at such different times of the day, and I'm actually curious because a random question came to mind. Do you feel like you can get more creative with your storytelling, or unlock different types of creativity in certain environmental conditions? Or if you go, like, let's say you go work in a coffee shop, or you go work somewhere else, or you're working in the middle of like a storm, do you feel like you get different like types of creative energy from your characters if your environment changes? You can drop this in the chat because I'm
I
actually
wouldn't
really
say my
curious.
environment.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my environment, not really, mainly because I don't leave my house all that often.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and well, now I'm stationary because my PC and my laptop just I'm not taking it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more influenced by my music. If I'm listening to something really upbeat, really like happy, my scenes are more likely to follow that. If I'm listening to something that is more somber, more slow. My characters and scenes tend to reflect that. If I'm listening to something that is really kind of not exactly metal, but somewhere close to that, something kind of aggressive, my
Hmm.
characters are more likely to react to that, and it does help with certain scenes. To write Bound by Song, I've actually been using
Hmm.
Suno, that the AI music thing. I've actually been using that to
Yeah.
create a lot of like slow songs, and it's
Hmm.
actually been helping the write the vibe for that.
Oh, that's super cool. I mean, I really like Suno. I actually do really like being able to create the random music with it. That I absolutely do. So I mean, I think it's cool being able to create different like a different variety of playlists. And I think music is very difficult because it's so easy to get copyright strikes for music, especially as creators. So I think anytime we can find other resources for music is definitely a plus. I can tell here in the chat, Matt, you're like, if I'm not at my writing station, I get nothing done. Interesting. So you have to be at your workstation to be able to write on your end.
I'm the,
And mm,
I'm the same way as Soul.
mm,
I don't really go out and write because when I do
mhm,
the last couple times I've gone out and write, people have seen me writing and then they're like, "We need to ask 20,000 questions." I'm thinking like, I just want to write.
mhm.
I need to have a sign with me that says I'm writing. Please don't bother me.
I've honestly joked about actually getting like a sign to put outside my studio door that says on
Mhm.
air every time I'm in here writing.
No,
Do I know it's
just have a little red light.
one of the first days? So when I first started at my live streaming days, my family never knew when I was streaming because I had my door closed because I was working all the time anyways. So like I woke up one morning and literally like hanging right above me, and they did it really comedically, was this thing that they got me.
That
I
is
was
just
like, well,
awesome.
That's perfect.
I guess this is kind of a hint.
There you go, Soul. That's what you need.
I was like, now I feel like I need one of these for a writing version one. All right, guys, that's the next thing I'll create. We'll create a writing tag for right now. That's something everyone could use.
No, I remember.
Um,
I remember when I
mhm,
was writing my very first book, and I was
mhm,
sitting at home typing. My mother
mhm,
came in. She goes, "I need your help." I said, "Is it very important?" To me, it is. Yes. I'm like, "Is it something only I can do?" No, your brother can do it.
mhm.
And I'm like, "Get him."
I feel like it kind of changes for everyone too. That's interesting. By the way, paperback and ponytails, welcome back, my friend. Yeah, like I've been out a lot writing and I rarely get talked to. I think only one lady came up because she loved my Bluetooth keyboard for my guys. I totally do that. I will be the first one to admit that if I go out in public and I'm writing, I'll people watch as well because I'm watching personalities. I'm watching kind of how people interact with each other because I feel like it gives me ideas for characters.
That's actually
Um,
pretty neat.
mhm. I think you can also use it as an exercise in dialogue. If you're in an open area where people are having conversations, sometimes like coffee shops, restaurants sometimes are a little harder just because of noise. Malls can work as well sometimes. But if you're in an area where you can hear fragments of conversations, you can actually use it to practice dialogue, which is really interesting. I asked myself, do I get writing done? I actually can be pretty productive when I'm out and about in public. And I think it's my goal to be able to travel more consistently in the future. So it's like kind of challenging myself to be able to write wherever I go. I think I'm more in my stream studio more consistently just because of my lifestyle right now. But I think I could write wherever. But something that always influences me is the weather. I feel like if I'm in the middle of like some type of like storm or some type of like environmental thing going on outside, I feel like it kind of like inspires me a little bit. And I don't know if that's maybe just because of like Scarecrow. Clearly, weather is a part of the world. Um, but yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely an influence for me for sure. Does weather ever like affect you guys at all? So like even I know both you guys sounds like you're more in your routines and places, but does it ever inspire your writing?
It has a
Not.
few times for
Mhm.
myself. I
Mhm.
will admit some of my fan fictions, storms are actually really common in them. And I've actually tried to veer away from that because I feel like I do it too often, but storms tend to pop up enough that
Mhm.
it kind of, once it appears, it sets like the tone for the rest of the story.
Interesting. Interesting. So then you feel like you end up like relying on like, okay, I'm gonna put in a storm to make it a dramatic vibe, but now I don't want to like
Well,
over rely on
sort
it.
of. One of my fan fictions was obviously a One Piece one, and it actually
Mhm.
literally started out with a really bad storm at the beginning of the Grand Line.
Mhm.
Um, and even though there wasn't really a lot of storms after that moment,
Mhm.
it actually did kind of there actually was kind of the symbolization of a storm within a storm within one of the main characters because it was a dual point of view. The
Mhm.
original character Nyx was
Mhm.
a Zoan fruit user, and
Mhm.
there was kind of an internal storm within him in like the last chapter because he nearly lost himself to the Zoan fruit.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool. Actually, that's kind of a cool start for a story.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to write. That's actually the story that made me start really loving Zoan fruits.
And I love the idea behind Zone Fruits. I think it's actually a cool ability for that world. A cool magic type system. Yeah, I ask myself, I'm like, I've done it's interesting. I think I've used weather as in Scarecrow, I think I've used different weather types as chapter obstacles. I think that's kind of how I'm using the weather in Scarecrow. It's like certain weather patterns show up, and it basically creates an obstacle for like it's like a single like story arc for like a chapter or chapters. But I think because I'm in a world where there's so many different types of um, weather types. It's like a part of the world, and I want it to feel like feels like a little man versus nature. I mean, scarecrow versus nature, but yeah, that's that story, that archetype. Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. When I think about story archetypes, do you guys usually write stories where it's a protagonist is out to kill the bad guy or kill the antagonist? Is that usually the type of story that you guys go through?
No.
Varies.
Mm-hmm.
My stories bounce between there's a bad guy you got to defeat,
Mm-hmm.
and like my first fan fiction that wasn't at all like that. That was the protagonist more or less learning to deal with himself,
Mm-hmm.
and there wasn't really an antagonist for that, not like a set one for the whole thing. It was
Mm-hmm.
more of like he was his own antagonist. And a couple
Mm,
of my other stories are pretty similar. There might be an antagonist as in a person, but it's
mm-hmm.
more often than not themselves or nature itself.
Mm. So it's character versus nature a lot of times for you.
About half the time, yeah.
Okay,
Either
so
character versus nature or character versus themselves.
that's interesting. Um, Yeah, I mean, where that goes in that saying, right? We are our own worst enemies.
Pretty much. And when you've got a main character who is just a big, giant, anxious cat, yeah, no, he's definitely his own enemy.
Calvin, what about you?
Not really. I mean, the very first story I ever wrote, the main
Mm-hmm.
character wasn't trying to kill an antagonist because she
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know who the antagonist was. She was just
Mm-hmm.
trying. She was trying to help liberate her country.
Mm-hmm.
So, so she wouldn't have even. I think when I planned the series, I don't even think I had them meeting the antagonist until like the end of the second book.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I try to ask myself if I veer towards a protagonist kills the antagonist as the story archetype. I mean, I think Scarecrow, book one is definitely hero goes kill the bad guy. For sure. That's the main plot, but it's not the main story arc for the series. Hmm. I definitely played around with a couple of different types before too. Like I think I did one where it was like hero goes to save a family. our hero goes to save characters from the bad guy. Um, I've done a self-discovery one as well, so I've definitely one of my like short stories was like characters' worst enemy was themselves. I thought that was a really.
Self-discovery stories are interesting.
Mhm. I think with fantasy, I end up gravitating a little bit towards hero goes kill the bad guy because it's such like a fantasy trope. Yeah, it's interesting. Let's see, and I can tell. Let's see here in the chat. Let's see what do we got here? It looks like Megan's like, nah, no killing antagonist in my tales. The antagonist always comes back. The antagonist only lives long enough to become the hero, right? Let's see. I'm querying my story Wonderland agents. By the way, Susan, really good luck with that. Querying is such a process. And it sounds like Adrian, you are also querying. I'm filling out today's query letter on my hunt for a lit agent. Wish me luck, y'all. So we have a couple of you working on query letters in the community, which is super cool. I wish I could offer or like talk about querying, but I don't have too much experience with querying.
Just
I
don't
mean,
get
it's something,
frustrated.
and I mean, right? That's what we've heard, right? So we've heard a lot. We've definitely heard a lot from other writers in the community about like querying and about that process and what it looks like. And in the future, I will probably be at a point where I will go a querying route, but I think I'll go it more to test out whether it takes 5 query letters or 1,000. Right? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it until I get a response. Um, but I imagine, based on what I've heard, that querying feels at times a little similar to job hunting in the fact that you're creating a letter that has to basically hook somebody in the very first line, right? You have to hook somebody, and then it has to offer a very clear value proposition for what your book is. Um, and then you have to make sure that all the formatting's right, that you're sending it to the right agents, to the right houses, so that way it actually aligns with the type of thing that they're looking for. And you have high competition. So I mean, I think that's why there's a challenge a lot of time because it's highly competitive.
Real quick,
Um,
real
mhm,
quick before I go, I do remember when I was looking at doing an agent, there was a
mhm,
website, and I cannot remember it for the life of me, but it gave you a list of like every agent that you can think of, and you can
mhm,
actually sort them by like what categories do they represent.
mhm,
So that was nice because you could filter them, you could filter out, hey, I'm doing a fantasy, I only want the people who are going to accept fantasy,
mhm.
because it does you no good to write to a literary agent that's like, "Hey, here's my fantasy story. I represent romance. I ain't even gonna look at this."
Yeah, and I mean, I completely agree with that, right? Otherwise, you're just wasting your time because there's so many people you could send out query letters to. Um, and it's like you want to I think it's you want to increase your chances, right, with what you do send out,
Yeah,
right, recognizing the odds. And I think, Adrian, what you said here is really interesting. You're like, to me, it's more akin to dating. You're not trying to get hired or hire someone. You're looking for a partner, someone who shares your vision and will be your champion. I
yeah,
mean, I
that's a
like
good.
that. That's a way better way of framing it, Adrian. I love that.
Yeah.
I
Anyhow,
love that.
I'll see you guys next week.
I
You
Calvin, thanks for joining us,
too.
man.
See you guys later.
But yeah, I think querying's really interesting. So, are you planning on querying eventually? Are you going to try to go that route, or are you going to stick to your self publishing?
I'm pretty much going to try to stick to self-publishing. I may look into like indie studios eventually,
Mm-hmm,
depending on like, how many books I want to write.
mm-hmm,
But for the most part, I'm just going to be self-published because honestly, my dream was to publish Pirates, and I have technically done that.
mm-hmm,
Any other book that I write at this point is just gravy.
mm-hmm,
So at this point it's like the more books I write, the happier I'm going to be. But since I've already got the first book published that I wanted to write my entire life basically,
mm-hmm,
I'm just more like, no, my thing is I'm going to go to my game studio
mm-hmm.
and the books are like on the side kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, I don't think there is a wrong or a right answer when it comes to querying. a thing that a lot of writers do they will start through self-publishing X amount of novels, and then they will go the querying route. Some writers exclusively self-publish everything. Some writers don't even self-publish their first book and go querying straight out the door. I think it really just comes down to what your personal goals are. And I think for me personally, I know I do want to go towards mainstream trends, and I want to tell the best story possible, of course, and have as many people read Scarecrow as possible. At the same time, I want to share my enthusiasm and passion for writing with the world and share that, as you guys have seen over the course of 500 something streams, that every part of the writing process is doable. And it's can be easier a lot of the time with the right resources, tools, and a community. And I think anything that I try, from querying or trying different writing software, different writing tools, or conferences, or like whatever, I think that all still goes to me for trying to share just the process of writing, which is why I love the live stream aspect, because we're able to like share this live with the community. I mean, if I mess up, which you guys see me mess up later all the time, like it's there, it's all good. Hakuna Matata. Like, oh man. Interesting, Adrian. So you're saying that like I never thought I'd be going trad pub, but now I kind of wish I had gone this route from the jump. But the experience I've had is invaluable. Interesting. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's always really interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I'm really, really happy with the idea, or with the fact that I'm sticking with Scarecrow through self-publishing for at least this book. Will I go all the books a self-publishing route? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. I think that's something that I will play kind of book by book, and kind of just see how I feel, where I'm at in life, where we're at with the community, and so on and so forth. So I think that's kind of what comes down to me in terms of what that looks like. But I think it was so interesting. So, like when I had gone to the bookstore, I mentioned this on the stream the other day. But I went to a bookstore and ran into some author, and she was selling her books. I was like, "Oh wow, is this like a book launch?" She's like, "No, it came out like 3 years ago." I'm like, "Oh wow," I was like, "And you're still like doing like this like a book stand and trying to sell your books?" So I'm like, that's interesting, right? That you don't have to do it just when your book launches, and it's still just it's the idea of growing your readership and getting it out to a community. Ah, awesome. So did you having a crow join you?
Yep, came in here crying like a baby.
Aw, Crow just wanted to come hang out with you. I think so. That is your inspiration, right? Is Crow your inspiration?
Honestly, I think my biggest inspiration is my husband, my kid,
Aw.
my cats, and well, you know, that's pretty much it. Because I mean, about I'd say a third of the time when I'm in here writing, he
Mm-hmm.
comes in here and he demands my lap and is a
Mm-hmm.
big, massive baby about it and demands my attention.
Oh man, that's kind of funny.
But with my husband shaming me, well, that's my inspiration there is I don't want to be shamed. But Jeffrey, though, I'd say I think this was like last spring or something or last summer.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey actually wrote a story himself that was about trains.
Oh really?
And I'm sitting there like, my kid wants to write a story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to stop writing now because that might encourage him to write more. And it was actually pretty cute for his age, so I'll
Aw,
give him that. He even drew pictures for it.
really?
They were actually pretty good. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I think I really like that. I like that you're influenced by your family, those around you, and I think that's really, really, really powerful. I am. What am I influenced by? I am influenced by stories. I'm generally the most influenced by stories. Yeah, I think actually I'm influenced by challenge. I'm influenced by challenge and difficulty. I like to see things that have been done or things that haven't been done in a certain way and then ask myself, how can I do it better or differently with my vision? Because I'm of the belief that everything's already been done already, right? I don't think we can really create anything that's original, and because we've done so much in just the history of time, I think it's how do we do a creative spin on it that hasn't been seen by this readership or this people.
There's technically no such thing as originality. There hasn't been
Mm-hmm.
for centuries or even thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
But what is original is how we spin things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
You can
completely
take
agree.
10, you can take 100 people,
Mm-hmm.
one prompt, and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get 100 different stories. Even if a prompt is something that we've heard 1,000 times before, we're still going to get 100 different stories,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no guarantee that any of them are going to be anything we've ever heard before from other writers.
Mm-hmm. And I think then recognizing that, right, that the goal is not about I don't think the goal is about telling a completely original story that hasn't been told before. I think it's about telling the story that you want to tell, um, aligning it with whatever your goals are, whether it's telling it for yourself completely, telling it with a community in mind, telling it for readership, telling it to make money. I mean, I think it's recognizing your goals and then trying to match the two in the middle. Yeah. It's interesting. Awesome. Uh, Paperback. That's really interesting. Like I've heard that always have your new releases, but don't forget to continue marketing your previous books as well. That's
Yep.
so important. I know, so especially because you're about to launch your book this week as well. Are you now going to go like try to push and announce and market your book too, while then also getting them to pick up book one? Or do you
Yeah,
just
that's what I'm going to try to do. I need to finish updating the site. I need to finish updating the website for one,
Mhm.
but now that book 2 is going to be coming out, I'm going to try to push both of them together and get
Mhm.
people interested in them. And I'm like really starting to work on the novellas that are coming after
Okay.
book 3, so that people can be like, okay, well, there's these 2 books and there's these other books coming out and there's a third book.
Mhm.
Well, these sound really interesting, so I want the second book, but wait a minute, there's a first book, and the author talks about this a lot, so it's just all of that. If I
Yeah.
can, I actually would like to try to get a booth at Pride this year, in my
Mhm.
hometown, and see if I couldn't
Yeah.
sell some of my copies there.
Which
I
I mean,
mean,
I
it's
think
an LGBT book, so it fits in perfectly
yeah,
well.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, talk about like trying to get it to a community, right? It doesn't have to be um at a bookstore necessarily, but it's towards LGBT community. So by going to Pride, like LGBT community is going to be there. So you have such a higher likelihood of connecting with that community and building, bringing more to your readership, which I think
Yep,
is a great strategy.
yep.
Awesome. So I think on that note, let's get some writing in. Now, I think because I really need to get work done, I'm going to challenge us with a longer writing sprint today. So I'm going to go for an hour writing sprint. You guys can, of course, join. I'm needing to really push myself with Scarecrow, so I'm really going to try to focus on staying consistent and working on what I need to do. You guys can all come join us. So I know you're working on Bound by Song, right?
I'm actually not working on that today. I got another comment recently on one of my fan fictions I haven't updated since September. It's the
Mm-hmm.
one where I'm writing from Usopp's point of view, and I hate that because I just do not like him. But I got another comment, and it's like, okay, you know what? People are enjoying this. People like this. I am now embarrassed that I have not finished this. So I'm pushing myself to finish it today.
Well, I think that's definitely. Hopefully, you're. I mean, you probably are gonna make some good progress. You're usually pretty quick. Um, I'll see. Hopefully, I can make some progress. And all right, so I think I have us all set here. So as you guys can tell, we got our writing software. I got the writing image and the timer all set up. So we're going to get some writing in. We'll catch up and we'll see where we're at after the hour. I usually don't go such a long sprint, but like I said, you guys, I got to push myself. I got to finish Scarecrow. So we're gonna do it. My goal is to start doing some longer writing sprints. That way we can try to be productive. Come join us, whether you are writing, editing, revising, author branding, or maybe you're just procrastinating. Come join us anyways. We'll get the shame bell here eventually. All right, we're all ready to try. So come join us because it's time to write now. All right, and that is the writing sprint. Oh my goodness. Wow. You know, I usually don't do the hour long the writing sprints quite so long, but I feel very very productive. I felt really good about that. I went through I Wow. So I went through and I went through revising this chapter. I feel like I'm kind of at a part of the book where I'm incorporating so many different characters. And they're all very minor characters. It's because there's so many animals that I feel like I'm really trying to get the vibe right. The first part of the story, there's like so few characters, and I'm at a part where there's so many. Um, and I'm really trying to make certain ones impactful and then other ones more world building. So it's really interesting. But I think I'm pretty happy with how it's coming out. I am. I got to the point right as we're about to meet the midpoint antagonist. So I wasn't sure how the chapter was sounding because it's like when you're in the moment revising, you're revising section by section, but then it's like you don't really know until you pull back and you have to read the pacing and see how it flows. So how did that writing sprint treat the rest of you? Were you able to make any progress? Were you getting writing, editing? I know we got some querying letter going in. What type of progress did you get on your end? We would love to hear. Drop a comment. So, what about you? How'd that sprint treat you?
Well, 1,500 words.
Nice.
But I'm mostly through the chapter now.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm writing from the perspective of Usopp, I'm actually doing pretty well now. I'm
Mm-hmm.
originally I meant to write it kind of like how the manga went.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it actually sounds a lot like the live action. It,
It sounds more like the
it's
live
actually
action.
making it a little easier. Not that I didn't like the manga or anything, just with me not liking Usopp, I don't know, his live action is a little better than his anime version, at least pre time skip, so but like right now I'm at the moment where Luffy's about to kick Kuro's butt, so
So I think I finally beat you. Finally did. 1,600 words. Woo! But I wasn't writing the whole time though. That's technically 1,600 revising words. Gotcha. All right. And it looks like Adrian stopped back by as well. Paperback, awesome. Like a little bit of a rough start, but 559 words written during that hour. It might be the end of the chapter. Nice. Nice. We're making some work. Mama Maggie, glad to have you here as well. Glad the sprint helped with a little bit of productivity. We appreciate you so much, my friends. And yeah, so I'm glad we were able to get a little bit of writing and I felt pretty good. Nice, Megan. I worked on my post from Medium. Medium posts are great. Medium posts are a great way to get your writing out there, especially for articles. I know there is fiction spaces for Medium. It's interesting. There are definitely spaces to do. You totally do like a fiction styled newsletter through Medium. It's really interesting. Um, that's awesome, Megan. That's awesome that you're playing into Medium. Love to hear how your experience turns out on there. Nice, Mariek. About 400, making progress little by little. Well, you know what? That's the goal, my friends. You know what? One word, 1 hour, 1 day at a time. We'll get there bit by bit.
hey,
So,
any progress is progress.
mhm. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm realizing though, after just having an hour sprint, that I need to have like way more of these. I need to have way more of these. Um,
The shorter sprints are good and probably more manageable, but yeah, no, the hour long sprints you get more done.
yeah, I think starting in July, once AWC is over, I think I'm gonna probably start sprinting more consistently and doing much longer sprints. I think that's the only way to get myself through Scarecrow faster because my like, I don't know, I might do an all day riding sesh. I used to do that when I was younger. Whenever I was like really in the writing vibe and I wanted to push myself, I would try to do like a 24-hour writing marathon and see if I could just like write for 24 hours.
That actually sounds kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Uh, and I would do it where I'd be like focus and obviously I'd obviously like only step away for like to grab food or bio breaks, of course, but like the goal is literally like stay there. Stretch, of course, like I mean, granted, when I was young, I didn't have stretched also. I probably have to stretch now. um, yeah, so I don't know. I might attempt that again in July. Because I feel like I think once I'm in it, and I'm at such a good part of the story too. So we'll see.
Well, if you do if you do a write-a-thon, that would definitely be helpful too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. Mm, we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to think of ways to be more productive so I can get through Scarecrow. Um, awesome. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us today. Good, solid writers group. Meeting 51. I'll be back tomorrow. We shall be back tomorrow for another writing sprint. You guys know me. I'll be back tomorrow with another daily writing sprint. Tomorrow is Thursday. I'll be going live at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. But don't forget, if you are a YouTube channel member, because I know we just had a bunch of members join the community, if you are a YouTube channel member, we got some exciting things for you over the next couple of days. Those of you who are at the right now student tier, tomorrow is going to be the office hours. So if you're needing help with your story and you need one-on-one feedback with me, and you need one-on-one time, whether to talk about your writing journey or to help on a story specifically, that is tomorrow. That's going to be right before the stream, which I believe is at 1 Pacific, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Eastern. So it's going to be right before the stream. I'll be dropping that link in for channel members. And then we will be having on Sunday, we'll be having both the YouTube channel members live stream for anybody who's a channel member. Topic's still going to be TBD. I'm going to determine that by Saturday. I'm like bouncing around between like 5 different topics. I'm just not sure which one I feel like talking about. So that's going to be for channel members. And then we'll also be having our channel member critique group. So those of you who are at the critique member tier, Sunday's going to be our critique group. I hope you join. Bring your story. This is great if you need help on a story that you're working on a story excerpt, and you want to bring it to the community. It's basically with a closed group. Everyone shares their story. Everyone gets feedback. It's not a live stream event. It's a private event. So whether you want to bring your story, or maybe like last time, we had some of our critique members just show up because they just kind of wanted to watch, we can do that as well. If it's something you just want to watch and you want to see other critique members, you just want to see how people are doing their critiques. So that's another option as well. That's what we got this week, my friends. So hopefully we'll be able to see you guys this weekend, and that is the vibe. Thank you guys for joining us today. It's been a great writers group. So we'll be back next week. We'll be back. And
Always.
Then Saturday, we still got Write Chat. So for those of you wanting to get some writing in as well, Discord writing sessions have been pretty cool, haven't they?
Yeah. I get at least one person a week. Usually, it seems like I've been getting two. It's just a fun time to have people come in, start chatting about their stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that's what we got on a Saturday, and yeah. All right, that's all that I got for you today, my friends. I'm Kauffman, and this is
Chat Soul.
And we'll catch you on the next stream. All right, take care, friends.
Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right